Everybody, it's Ms.Salazar and welcome to health class. So today we're going to talk about car and bus safety. Now there are two things that you need to know: what is a seatbelt and what is a crosswalk. So a seatbelt is something that keeps you in place in a car, and a crosswalk is a place to cross the street safely. So if you're going to cross the street, make sure that you use a crosswalk. Now, not every street is going to have a crosswalk, but when you see one, definitely use it. It's going to keep you safe because it's going to make sure that all the cars that are driving around in the street can see you crossing. So that way they don't hit you. Now let's see, there are safety rules to follow when you ride in a car or in a bus. Always wear your seatbelt, and like I said before, a seatbelt keeps you in place in a car. So there are other ways you can stay safe, like always sit in the back seat. So because of your age, you have to sit in the back seat. Once you get older, then you are legally allowed to sit in the front seat. But in the meantime, you always sit in the back seat. Never share a seatbelt with a friend. Face front and make sure that your seatbelt is put on safely. Also, it says your seatbelt can't protect you if you sit sideways. So that's why it's always important that you are sitting in the back seat, but you're facing front. Okay, you're facing in the front, not sitting sideways. Now, let's see. Over here, we have some safety rules. It says, get on and off the bus one at a time and hold the handrail. So if you're going to get on the bus or if you're going to get off the bus, then use the handrail. That's the little rail that you have right next to the steps. The second rule says stay in your seat. Exactly. So you have to stay in your seat, especially when the car, well, not the car, when the bus is moving. It says speak quietly. So the reason for that is because you don't want to distract the driver. Because if you distract the driver, then the driver can get into an accident. Now, if you're in a bus or if you're in a car, try to speak quietly so you don't distract the driver. If you're in a bus, stay in your seat because in a bus, usually, at least here in Puerto Rico, we don't have seat belts in a school bus. Now, some school bus they do have seat belts, but the majority of the school buses that we have here don't have seat belts. So it's important that you always stay in your seat. Now, if you're in a car, then you stay in your seat and you put on your seat belt. Now let's see. It says make sure the driver can see you when you are outside of a stopped bus. That's the thing. So if you are, let's say that you're going to get inside of a school bus, but you have to make sure that before you do that, the bus has completely stopped. And then you know that stop sign that school buses have. So you need to make sure that that sign is up and then the doors open. And once they do that, once the doors open and the driver tells you to get in, then you are allowed to get in. Let's see, it says never walk behind the bus, stay back until the driver says it's okay to get on, and then keep the aisle clear. So, those are some of the basic rules to keep you safe. It says when you get off the bus, cross the street or cross the street at a crosswalk. So, a crosswalk, like I said before, is a place to cross the street safely. But here's the thing: not every street is going to have a crosswalk. Sometimes you're going to have to cross the street without a crosswalk. And it happens, that's okay. But when you do that, make sure that you follow the safety rules when you are going to cross the street. So you have to look three ways: to your left, to your right, and then again to your left. Okay? So you do that, you have to look three ways before crossing the street. Actually, you still have to do that even when you are crossing and when you are using a crosswalk. Now, again, some of the basic bus safety rules. Use the seatbelt if the bus has seatbelts. Keep your hands and feet inside the bus. Make sure that the aisle is clear. This is the aisle. Make sure that the aisle is clear. You see that people don't have any backpacks, they don't have any suitcases, any bags, any purses here in the aisle. So make sure that everything is clear and then you keep your hands and your feet inside the bus. Use handles and those the railings or the handrails to keep you safe. So when you are getting inside of the bus or when you're getting out of the bus, you're gonna leave. So make sure that you use those handrails because it's gonna keep you from falling. And also, do not get close to the bus until the doors open. So once the doors open and the bus has completely stopped, then you can get in, and make sure that, usually the driver is going to tell you that you can get in. But when the bus stops, the bus is going to use its own stop sign. You see? Every bus has a stop sign. Again, so we have other safety rules that we need to consider. Stay 3 giant steps away from the curb. So the curb is the sidewalk. So let's say that you're waiting for the bus, you're on the sidewalk, but if you're on the sidewalk, you have to take 3 giant steps away from the sidewalk. What I mean by that is that you have to, even though you're in the sidewalk, um, even though you're there on the sidewalk, you have to sort of keep your distance from the road. Okay, always keep your distance from the road because an accident could happen, and maybe the car or a bus could accidentally be on the sidewalk, could accidentally crash into the sidewalk. Number two, when crossing in front of the bus, make sure that you are 5 giant steps from the bus so the driver can see you. So when you're going to cross the road, and you're basically, let's say that you're trying to get to the doors so that you can go inside of the bus. So when you do that, when you're crossing in front of the bus, make sure that you are 5 giant steps away from the bus so that the driver can see you. Always do that. Now, some car safety: use the seatbelt, keep your hands and feet inside the car. Don't distract the driver, and don't open or lean on the door when the car is moving. That is a huge no no because it has happened before where the person is, let's say that the person is sleeping and the person is leaning on the door, and then suddenly the door opens. It has happened before. So that's why it's important that you don't lean on the door and you don't play around with the door, especially when the car is moving. Now, you guys have 2 videos in LMS. We're going to be discussing these videos in during discussion in the class. But one video is about school bus safety, and then the other one is about car safety. Now, let's see. Why should you never, never, never walk behind a school bus? Hmm. Well, the bus driver cannot see you. And if he, the bus driver, or she, could be a he or a she. So if the bus driver, either he or she, moves the bus, then you can get hit. So that's why it's super important that you never, 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 never go behind a school bus. Never walk behind a school bus. It's not safe because the driver cannot see you. And if the driver is about to move the bus, you're not paying attention, and then the bus driver can hit you. Now, this is your assessment. It's due until the 14th. So you have until the 14th to send this. You're going to send this to LMS and PDF. It is worth 5 points. And then all you have to do here is write a safety rule for each picture, right? And then you're going to color the picture, and then you're going to cut all this entire square. Once you do that, you're going to fold each line. So you're going to make sure that this image is folded and it's centered, and then you're going to make sure that this image is folded to the center. So both of them are going to be folded, and both of them are going to be meeting here in the center. Once you do that, right here in the center, you're going to write car and bus safety. But we are going to be doing this in class. Okay, so if you guys have any questions concerning about bus safety or car safety, then let me know. Bye, everybody.